Yeah,
just a moment.
Andy, tell us about that. Where are we right now with the government shutdown?
We are where we have been since last week. There is no progress. I don't anticipate much movement in the coming days. Everyone has really dug in on their positions, and there's no negotiating going on. What's remarkable about this shutdown compared to 2018 is that time there was a group of bipartisan senators like toiling over the weekend, burning the midnight oil, trying to find a way out. No one was working this weekend on this. I mean, senators were sent home. The House has been out for 3 weeks. And that is because everyone kind of thinks they're winning the blame game. Everyone feels kind of confident about their positions. No lawmakers are feeling particular pressure yet, particular pain from voters. So until that happens, which probably won't happen until paychecks are missed, like the 15th, the 24th, I think that the pain level has to go up before we see anyone move from positions where they kind of think they're winning right now.
Yeah, you know, John, what's so fascinating is while you're going through this, and I can just speak for myself, when you're in the House, you think this is the most important thing in the world. And it takes you a couple months to realize nobody knows what we're doing up here. They see their headlines. And this is a headline. Well, and it's one of the reasons I always say Republicans lose these things. The headline is Donald Trump is president, Republicans run the Senate, Republicans run the House.
The government shut down.
Conservatives control the Supreme Court, dominate the Supreme Court. Republicans control the bureaucracy. Republicans have a monopoly of power in Washington. And
that you think Trump is in control. Why is it the government not getting funded? Mike Johnson this morning with Ali Vitale said the sentence to your point about the clean CR.
Right.
As soon as you hear anybody say, we gave them a clean CR, I'm like, okay,
you've lost
the debate. But he also said when Ali made the point you just made, she said, you know, Republicans run the House, Republicans run the Senate. Well, he said, well, Ali, anybody who studies civics knows that we need 60 votes, which means that we need 60. I'm like, anybody who studies civics.
We've been complaining about nobody studies civics for like a generation now.
Again, I say most American voters cannot name their congressman.
Right.
The 60 vote threshold, the clean CR, those are terms of debate. Right. If you were citing any of those things, you were losing the debate. And I think, you know, to the point of, you know, going back to 2018, 35 days, which took place after the midterms, when it was clear Democrats were retaking control of the House of Representatives. The politics now are so much more forbidding, are so much less likely to yield. At that point, it was Nancy Pelosi arriving and taking control of the House that broke the 35-day longest shutdown in history, 35 days. This time, what are the incentives for a Democratic Party that is fighting on the grounds of health care right now?
Right.
But truly, the party, it is really animated by something equally simple, which is, and much more overarching, which is we don't want to fund this government when it is doing what it's doing with ICE, when it's doing much more fundamental things. Democrats are not in a mood because of what they've seen over the last 8 months. And again, you can criticize this or not criticize it, but the healthcare thing is the thing. But we have to say something. We have to negotiate. We have to give. We want to fight over something that's popular for us. But the reality is they don't want really to fund this government. In the Donald Trump era, Donald Trump has always been able, Mark Leibovich, to have fights. He's been brilliant. And, you know, as John said, Americans, they're not wondering whether the CR is clean or not. They're seeing their grocery prices still skyrocketing. They're seeing gas prices still going up.
A burger is $35 at a restaurant.
Well, it's an expensive burger.
Well,
don't go to that restaurant.
Don't go to that restaurant. They're seeing rent. They're seeing rent.
Can't buy a house. Going
up. If you're under 45, chances are very good you're struggling to buy a home, struggling to make ends meet. And healthcare costs are just exploding, and they're only going to get worse because rural hospitals are going to be shut down. $150 billion, the Congressional Budget Office says, is being slashed from healthcare providers. $500 billion being slashed because of the Republicans' bill, being slashed from subsidies, healthcare subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. You can keep going. It adds up to $911 billion in total. And there ain't a whole lot of line items about illegal immigrants there. I mean, this is, again, I don't think this is the ground Republicans want to fight on.
Well, I mean, I think Republicans, and particularly Trump, sees their ground as just messaging per se. They think that it is possible, regardless of the substance here, regardless of what the line items are, regardless of how it's affecting people in their everyday lives, that they can win just by force of Donald Trump's communication skills, by force of his will to the Congress. And frankly, I mean, to John's point, I mean, people do walk around Washington these days basically terrified of Donald Trump. Certainly Republicans do. I mean, he has brought that party to heel in a way that we haven't seen a Republican or Democratic president do in their own caucus for a long, long time. And you know, Democrats are in a very reactive mode. They're certainly angry. They're certainly fed up with dealing with Republicans. They're certainly putting their hands up here. And I do think that, you know, you sort of look at the real world. I mean, voters don't actually go out and say, well, they have lost the CR, or they have lost the messaging war, or they have lost the shutdown, therefore I'm going to vote for the other party. No, that's not how this works. I mean, I do think when you see things like rural health care be defunded further, it adds another layer of dysfunction to the government and certainly to how people perceive the government. And also on top of what the big, beautiful bill did and how it played over the summer. The
Democrats' fault.
Yeah, but yet they're trying anyway. And so much of this is because they're so desperate to stay in control next year's midterms. And we talked about this last couple of weeks. So many of these sort of extreme moves put forth by the president, and that includes blessing this shutdown, is they think that they can use this to their political advantage. History will find out if that's true or not. But they're trying to find these wedge issues.
Should they win by slashing health care by $1 trillion, giving tax cuts to Elon Musk? I mean, I'm serious. I mean, there's no world that any of this polls well. The big, beautiful bill is upside down for good reason, because you are stealing from rural health care providers, that rural health care already in a crisis, and you're giving that money, in effect, to Elon Musk, to Mark Zuckerberg, to tech monopolists, to multinational corporations. I mean, I'm not really good at this politics thing, but that doesn't seem like a winner. That doesn't seem like something you want to focus on in a government shutdown.
The West Wing knows that the so-called big, beautiful bill is unpopular, which is why they're not talking about that. They're trying to get back to the territory they think helped them win in 2024. And it's you know, they're using this shutdown as a way to, again, press unfounded, let's be clear, false claims about Democrats and migrants who are here illegally, and as well as even transgendered issues. We've heard from the president about that too, making claims that that's what the Democrats want. They think those culture war issues, which won them in 2024, they think can again, because they know they can't.
You've seen Senate Republicans going, no, we're not going to. We're not going to negotiate.
Yeah, the whole position from John Thune is just like a big verbal shrug. He's like, there's not really anything to talk about. That middle group of senators doesn't so much exist anymore. Like that moderate group of Republicans and Democrats who would be in the room trying to find a way out. Those people don't really exist in the Senate anymore. And again, this just goes back to no one's giving so far Chuck Schumer an off-ramp. Like they keep saying he is scared of his base. He's scared of the progressives. That's why he's holding the government hostage. That's the Republican talking points about what's happening in the Senate. And like, if that's true, sure. Like he got a lot of blowback in March for voting with the Republicans to keep the government open. So he's not doing it this time. But they're not giving him any way to deliver the votes and keep his base pleased. They're not negotiating with him. Like if they're right that that's what's motivating him to stay strong, they're not trying to give him an off-ramp to get those votes.
Yeah, no off-ramp at all.
Have you played Don't Fear the Reaper yet this morning?
No, but we will, if you'd like us to.
I just don't like that. The Trump video.
Okay.
That's because you guys have not seen the Trump.
Trump tweeted a meme of Russ Vought as the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I know that, but I didn't.
Which we actually is.
Now, did he attach the Blue Oyster Cult song to it?
Yes, and it's one of the things.
Because that's next level.
But
in American politics, if you're playing Blue Oyster Cult, you're losing. That's the other.
Also, it's just like that video.
I don't know about that.
that video sets the tone.
Baby. I got a fever.
Like, it
It's the only
doesn't
cure.
feel like Donald Trump still thinks it's all kind of funny.
Right.
Which is the bottom line here. Like, no one involved in this negotiation seems very nervous that this is going to go on for many more days.
Usually takes a couple of weeks.
Annie Carney opens by saying, basically, yeah, nothing's happening. No one's negotiating. Lawmakers just went home. Wait, what? The government is shut down, people's paychecks are on the line, and the people in charge literally clocked out for the weekend? That's shocking enough. But it gets worse. Joe Scarborough absolutely loses it, pointing out the absurdity that Republicans control everything: the White House, the Senate, the House, even the Supreme Court, and yet the government still doesn't work. It's the kind of political failure you can't spin, and yet somehow, they're trying. What's really jaw-dropping is how out of touch it all sounds. While Americans are struggling with sky-high grocery prices, rent, and healthcare bills, these politicians are fighting over technical terms like clean CRs and 60-vote thresholds. Seriously, who talks like that outside of Washington? The disconnect is brutal. It's like they're speaking a different language while the country burns. Then the panel points out that Trump and his allies think they can win this just with messaging that memes, culture war soundbites, and his bully pulpit will somehow erase the chaos. It's wild. The man literally tweeted a meme of the Grim Reaper while the government was closed. You can't make this up. By the end, the mood turns from disbelief to dark comedy. The so-called leaders of the country are frozen, nobody's compromising, and Trump is laughing from the sidelines. The sense of dysfunction is overwhelming, like the system has completely lost its pulse. It's shocking, it's infuriating, and it perfectly captures the tragic circus that American politics has become.